Hi guys, you're good? Kabisa. Remember this is Uganda, I don't use Swahili.
Thank you very much, Josphat. Hi, everyone. This is going to be a very energetic and interactive session. I work in the marketing team at Africa's Talking. I am a lover of the number 5 and anything that is divisible by the number 5. So 20, 15, even the volume on the television, I always set it to a number divisible by 5. If it's 22, it doesn't sit right with me. It has to be 25, 20. Do any of you relate? Ah, nice. Yes, brilliant. So this session, like I mentioned, will be very interactive. I want you guys to scan this code. This will be used for questions that will be addressed at the end of the session. Do you have your phone? Nice. I'll give you guys time to scan. So if there's a question that pops up, feel free to just note it in the form that you'll see. Then we'll address it at the end of the session. Brilliant, brilliant, amazing. Were you able to capture the code? Nice. So the topic for today is mastering MarTech. In a bit, we'll talk about what MarTech is. It may not be an unfamiliar phrase to you guys. I know you guys will have heard about it, but more or less, it's the future of marketing. The main thing we'll start with is the foundation, and this is what we're calling the pirate funnel. So the pirate funnel has 6 syllables. That's AAA, RRR, which is like R. So I'll take you through what the pirate funnel is. So the first stage is awareness. Basically, what you want to do is you want to turn a glance into a stare. Many of you are on social media, you see a lot of information coming at you, but something that catches your eye turns a glance into a stare. So that's the first thing that you want to capture with awareness. Second aspect is acquisition. So acquisition makes you give your users, make sure you get your users 2 things: name, contact information. So that is either a phone number or an email. The last 3 letters, that's RRR. So we have revenue. So users have to give you your money constantly and consistently. So that is how you generate revenue as a business. Second thing is you have to retain your users. So you don't want a user using you just for one-off and not coming back. So you want a lot of repeat customers. Then lastly, you want those users to be satisfied so that way they can let other people know about your products and services. So that is referral. So that's the last stage of the pirate's funnel. So AAA, RRR, awareness, acquisition, activation, revenue, retention, referral. So you'll see more or less it's less of a funnel and more of a circle, because when your users refer other users, they go back to the A of awareness. Brilliant. So we'll just dive right into MarTech. So what is MarTech? Has any of you heard of MarTech?
Yeah, word MarTech and what has just been mentioned. I think MarTech is advertising technology.
So yes, marketing technology is MarTech. You guys were right. So MarTech involves collection of software tools and digital platforms used by marketers to do 3 things: plan, execute, and analyze their strategies. So that is very important. Plan, so before; execute, during; analyze, that's post. Then we have people. The goal of MarTech is to provide personalized, efficient, and measurable marketing strategies. So this session will cover 3 main things. We'll talk about marketing automation. We'll talk about client or customer relationship management, CRM systems. Then lastly, analytics and data management. So under marketing automation, we'll look at things like email campaigns, social media scheduling. Under CRM systems, we'll look at aspects of tracking customer behavior and interactions. Then lastly, analytics and data management, looking at customer behavior and numbers and campaign performance. So we'll begin with marketing automation. Very important. So basically, software is used to automate repetitive marketing processes. So this leads to efficiency on autopilot. Remember I said that our sessions are very, very interactive. So I want stories from you guys. I know many of you are building or have built solutions or are looking to build solutions. So the question to the floor, what automating strategies do you envision for your product, your solution, or your company? Yes. Your name, please, and what marketing automation strategies do you envision for your product or your company?
Hi, I'm Mark. Posts, social media posts. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Your name and what you envision.
Perfect. John Mwendwa. First conversation where someone asks for things like every time, where's your, what is it called? Portfolio, things like that. Those things are not nice to send every time. Yeah.
Thank you very much, John. Davis?
Also, marketing notifications in case they have an app, like daily marketing notifications.
Thank you, Davis.
My name is Hilda, and I believe proper branding of the product may be putting on t-shirts with your name of the product, and in case there are events, you also put the name of the product in the banners and sponsoring different events, but with the name of the product that you need.
Thanks for sharing, Hilda. We'll go to you, then you. Your name, what you envision.
So I'm Maxwell. So when you get data from a campaign, being able to create like landing pages automatically. So it gets the data, creates a landing page, it goes online without any interaction.
Thank you very much, Max.
My name is Johnson. So for me, I think you can have like a proper marketing strategy of like optimizing your like product, like using search engine optimization. For example, like you have a product of a website and that's where your product is, and you want to increase its visibility. So you improve it like that.
Thank you, everyone. I'll take that as the final submission. Don't worry, there are more story times. And it was mentioned that customer onboarding can sometimes be painful for both the customers and also the company. So for the customers not getting enough information, asking the same questions, that's why people have things like FAQs. People have things like help desk that people refer people to. Then on the other side, the client is not getting enough information, so they have to keep reaching out to the customer for that information. So there, in those pain points, there is an opportunity to do marketing automation. So marketing automation definitely helps with these following things. Number one, increased efficiency. You save a lot of time in terms of talking to the customer by doing repetitive things. In that time, you'll do other more meaningful things. Secondly, personalization. One thing that many customers don't want to be done for is be blanketed. So if you receive, say, a happy birthday message without your name, or happy Independence Day without your name, so that one it feels very generic. You don't feel personalized or connected to the brand. So automation helps in these things. Better lead nurturing. Basically, you cut off all the people who are not the right product fit for your customer fit for your product. Basically, when you filter all the leads that you get in, you qualify them, then give them the information that they want. Scalability. As I mentioned, once you have a lot of time, that extra time can be used to do things that scale. So grow your business, expand your business, say, into other territories, other countries, and improved ROI. You get a lot of cost savings so that you can channel those funds into other activities. So some of the tools that we use, and some of them which are AI powered, so I blanketed them into 3. Social media marketing. I'm sure many of you have heard of social media marketing tools. So we have Sprout Social, Buffer, Hootsuite, and AdCopy. So a majority of these have AI solutions built in, and those AI solutions help with knowing what is the best time to post content, what is the best time to schedule content to be posted, in which regions do your content perform better. Same thing with ad copy. It gives you different ad copy or different copy for your posts to know how to present them to your customers. Email marketing is the second bucket. So we have GetResponse and SendGrid. So both of these tools have APIs and web, where you can easily connect them to a solution and funnel your users into a subscriber management tool so that you can share with them newsletters and important updates. Then lastly, other automation tools, we have HubSpot, which is also like a CRM marketing tool. Zapier, which is basically a connector. Then Hugging Face, as was mentioned in the panel, which has different SLMs. So these SLMs will definitely create a lot of content for you, help you just create the different automations for your pirate funnel. So that's the first step. Second step, we look at CRM systems. Basically, CRM systems, they'll play a vital role in centralizing, optimizing customer information. I'm sure a majority of you here have interacted with CRM systems before, either knowingly or unknowingly. So what that does, it leads to smarter customer engagement. So the story time is here. What CRM systems and strategies do you envision for your product or your company? Put simply, how will you manage your customers easily for your product or your company? I will repeat. So for the customers or the users who are onboarded onto your platform, or the customers that you onboard onto your company, what strategy do you envision or systems do you envision to improve that relationship with them? Yes. Hi, Hilda.
Just trying out, I don't know how to term it, but it's maybe feedback, something like that. You continuously ask about the product that they have, what bugs are there, what can we do better, something like that. I don't know.
Yes, you are actually right. There's no wrong answer in this, so you are right. Thank you very much, Hilda. So giving feedback or creating spaces for feedback for your customers.
Can be used on every set of interaction, any interaction that really happens, because one of the problems that I notice is that most of the time you need to find a different tool, you need to find something else elsewhere. Sometimes you need to communicate differently using a different platform, do a call. So I think one of the things that would be better, and it requires to train the customers as well, so that becomes like the policy of how you do things. So it's in a centralized platform, basically.
Thank you very much, John. Anyone else? One more try. One more story.
I'm Roland. So, voice. Using voice to connect with people. Like, I put all the problems I know they might face. Then when they click to find a solution, the voice gives them feedback on how to solve the solution. It guides them. It's what I want to create, because I always get a problem with my dad is up country. Any challenge he gets with tech, he calls me. So I want to create something where he calls and then it guides him throughout the process.
Thank you very much, Roland. Davis?
As you automate that process, when they onboard, you send them a guide, maybe through email or through the app, providing on how your service works and the issues and how to where to contact customer care, things like that.
CRM, enhanced customer insights. So you'll get a lot of information from your customers. One thing that is very, very important is you never know when your product or your company has an issue until your customer tells you. That's very important. So you'll get a lot of customer insights from the CRM systems. Improved customer segmentation. You'll see customers who like, say, a particular bag. So you can easily market to them that bag compared to a t-shirt, for instance. So you can improve your customer segmentation. Very important, accurate tracking. So one thing that will be prevalent in this entire presentation is the power of metrics and data. So you can easily accurately track your customers and measure ROI. Then you also, through this personalization, have enhanced customer retention and loyalty. Then lastly, you streamline your sales and marketing alignment. So some of the tools that we use, we have Intercom. Intercom is like a customer help desk, so it definitely helps onboard our users onto our platform and give them information and guide them through help desks and the like. Paul mentioned yesterday that we have the plug and play. So plug and play is like a platform where you can easily engage with your customers. So that is like a CRM tool. Same thing with Mteja, one of our sister companies, gives you a customer engagement platform where you can easily communicate with them. Same with Sarufi, one of our partners. They do this using AI. Then we also have GetResponse. They do landing pages, emails, chatbots. So they give you a lot of avenues to engage and acquire your users. The next section we look at is behavior and trends analysis. You want to know your customer's behavior so you can predict. So we look at tools like Vitally, which gives you predictions on whether your customers will churn or not, as was discussed yesterday in the panel. Power BI, which gives you insights on revenue, and Hugging Face, again, which will feature a lot, gives you a lot of SLMs that will give you this data. So lastly, we look at, we have a question on the floor. Yes, Roland?
I see Hugging Face is everywhere, so it means I can customize a system using Hugging Faces to do what I want it to do. Oh, thank you.
Yes, Mark?
So, this is the second time you're showing us tools. Can you tell us the free ones? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mark. So Mteja is free until you engage with your customers. Same with Sarufi is free until you engage with your customers because you'll have to send SMSs, send out communications. GetResponse is free up until 1,000 subscribers. Beyond 1,000 subscribers, that's when you'll pay. Intercom has a free plan up to maybe 1,000 interactions. Vitally does not have a free plan. Power BI is free. Hugging Face is free. Yes. Oh, yes. Your name and your question.
Hi, my name is Ben. I just wanted to add something about Hugging Face. So Hugging Face is like a GitHub for machine learning and AI. And it's just not about having the small language models. You can train them there. You can deploy them there. You can pretty much do like everything in the stack of ML there. So consider using it even as an MVP in like, what do you call them? Some of the hackathons we have here, and you'll be good to go. Again, like it's not 100% free because like there are some things that you need. For instance, the compute time for some really big GPUs and stuff like that. Yeah, just use it today.
Thank you very much, Ben. One key takeaway is this is a gold mine, Hugging Face. By the end of this session, a lot of you guys will be diving into Hugging Face, and I can't wait to see what you guys build.
Okay, I'm trying to think hard since I've not yet put a product in the market. But I believe if I was to have a product in the market, I would expect to have purely correct data from the models, from the analysis. Like, take a scenario, you're getting mal-informed, like there's a misalignment between the...
So I test it with the public to see what they really want, then I develop on what everyone's like thinking about. You may see a border person, they have a stage and it's a group, so they want like a circle system for their border stage. It may first work for them. Okay, not first working for them. It will work for them, then they'll market it to other people. So like sample systems to see how the usage is, then I do more.
I like that. So samplings before putting your product in the market.
Like, what is that line that you say, okay, because it says you can correct wrong information, He says you can try with samples, but what is the line that you say, now I can do analysis on this data?
10% of them, that will be my sample size data. A lot of this data is determined by formulas. So you can put, say, different formula together, sample size, then thereafter you start collecting surveys. Then from those surveys, between 50 and 60, 70%, that's good enough data from your sample size to know that this is accurate. So it's a process. So you start with the population as a whole, get the sample, then 50 to 60% of the respondents would be classified as good data.
I could automate that process, maybe using Power BI, so that maybe every after 24 hours, I can see the trend from my data to see how things are performing, so that I can make timely decisions.
So what they do, they collect data using these street cameras. They want to see how many colors do people, like what is the biggest percentage of a color that people wear. If it's green, they want to know how many people wear green on Monday, blue, yellow. So they sell that data to the fashion companies. So these companies just start designing clothes according to color. Then you see them selling, and you ask yourself, like, how do they know? Yet you give them the information every day.
If there's a tool that can sync maybe with a POS and probably provide stats, let me give you a use case, like a bar. Like, is there a way we can measure, like, let's say, maybe around this time, these taskers are moving, we sell about 10 taskers before we can sell like 2 white cups, and so on and so forth. Or at this, between the first week of the month, we sell this more than that. I'm curious if POSs can provide that kind of analytics. I've not seen any yet, so I'm curious to find out. And yeah, I think it would be interesting to get those kind of metrics.
Thank you very much for the question, Joseph. So that is indeed a very amazing use case. So basically what POSs do is POSs are points of sale. So when you go to the shop, where you pay, where you tap, that's a point of sale. Or even the machine, that's a point of sale. So points of sales have centralized databases. So from that database, you can feed it into the tool that we'll be talking about the entire session, Hugging Face, just to help you build predictive models so that way you can see and create patterns around whether you can be selling 10 Tuskers before a White Cup or 10 Niles before Kilimanjaro. So it's just a way to feed into that Hugging Face, then you'll get the data that you need. So it's a lot of tweaking that you'll do, but it's an effective data strategy that will help you segment and improve your marketing strategies. Thank you.
So TikTok and Google have, you can know which product is now selling perfectly worldwide, and you can categorize it in terms of a country. Like this country, you want to know if this baby stuff is selling, or this type of shoe, like maybe Nike is selling so much. You can have that analytics. It's a site. Just good. I think Google Ads or TikTok ads, between the two. Both they do that. For Twitter, yet to see.
Thank you, Josephat. We'll move to Ben.
So there's a way you can get one of these large language models, and then you do some sort of role playing and a lot of web scraping to actually do that. And it can do it autonomously and get all this information for you. But the challenge with these sort of systems, you need to evaluate them a lot. So when it's doing things like those, always put some evals or evaluations. So your evaluations can be wherever you got it from. Give me like the URL as an example. Yeah. And if you want to know more, just come to me.
Thank you very much, Ben. Thanks, Josephat. So with that, thank you very much for your stories. I'll give you guys the Africa's Talking story. Davis.
Which customer does what, and then I put them in cohorts and then be able to analyze them Then after, I would also audit my data. Yeah, so that I know maybe after a certain period of time how true my data is or my analysis. I go back and audit like that.
Thank you very much. In fact, let's start with the recency. So we'll see that if someone has recently used our product, say today, when is the next time they use our API? So that way you can look at seasonality, as you mentioned, on whether they use it mostly in December or in Black Friday, November, or during Easter. So we can look at those people and know how to communicate to them when Easter is coming to use our APIs. When you look at frequency, how frequently do they call our API? Do they send 1 million SMSs a month? Do they have 200,000 SMS USSD sessions per day? So those ones, we know those ones are super users because they use a lot of our APIs. And thirdly, revenue, monetary value. How much money do they bring? So that's how we segment them and give them information. So there are so many benefits to analytics and data management. So with those, you have informed decision making because you know exactly what strategy to implement because it's data driven. Secondly, you understand your customer better and you can even personalize your communication to them. Then you increase operational efficiency. You do not lose a lot of revenue, let's say marketing on Facebook, while instead you get more interactions on Twitter. Then you also improve your risk so you don't bleed. Then you also become an effective marketer. So as promised, I'll mention the free tools. The top two are free. So Google Analytics and Clarity by Microsoft. So these guys give you websites and dashboard analysis. So basically they give you your user flows, how they visit your website, then social media analysis. All the social media management tools give you this for free as well. Then for revenue and trends analysis, Power BI, RFM. RFM is basically what I mentioned, recency, frequency, and monetary value. Then as always, you'll get a lot of SLMs on Hugging Face that can help you analyze your data.
Can I sell airtime and data using this? Hey, this is business.
So with this, you can build out this entire system because it's powered by Africa's Talking. You can sell it to your classmates, your friends, your family using WhatsApp. And very many people I know are in WhatsApp. Yes. So there are 3 key takeaways I want to give you guys as we close this session. The first key takeaway is build a content repository. So have a content library which you'll feed all of that information, especially information pertaining to your business, be it help articles, FAQs onto that business, so that way you can improve your workflows. Secondly is tools and software. I've given you a lot of free ones. Tools and software are your friend. This is mostly because you'll get a lot of analytics. Numbers do not lie. Then lastly, marketing is H to H. A lot of you know marketing as B2B, B2C, C2B, B2B2C, but marketing is always human to human. Never forget that. So as you implement your marketing strategies, do not be afraid to infuse your personality into your brand so that way people are interacting with a human, not a product. So remember, marketing is always H to H. In as much as we are forcing MarTech, it's H to H.
I'd like to start by you guys scanning this QR code. When it comes to citizen science, don't worry about this. Let me just explain what citizen science is. So when it comes to citizen science, there are some particular projects that the community can help with, like collecting information or verifying information. Because come to think of it, there was a booth for Mozilla Common Voice. That's a citizen science project in a way. But so these projects, like they come in various shapes and sizes, and you can easily participate in them, even if you're like not a super professional. Like when you guys shared a bit about this healers, there's this information that they have that was just transferred by a mouth or you just privileged to be in this family and get this information. But this information, I feel it should be decimated more. And there are people who are working on data sets, like regarding medical question answering. So what that means is, when you use these fantastic language models or whatever it is you call them, like these things were just a table of data. One column is maybe a question, and then the other column is the answer, as an example. So when you're making these large language models, data will be tabular like that at some point, and sometimes it can in JSON, like JavaScript, you know that stuff. But I found there was a need to have this information also represented in those particular data sets. And that now brings me to citizen science, right? So I feel like from this presentation, like I encourage you to make your own data set, or if you have some information, just make it and then share widely, because there are some people who are working on those data sets. And there was this thing about inclusion, like these models don't have this information, or it's weird. Like I'll show you some data sets so that you can verify them as well and take part. So this is what I'm showing you here is another project called, it used to be called the American Gut Project. And this is an example of a very successful citizen science project, just to illustrate why these projects are so important. So in this project, you're given a kit, so I think about $99. And then once you get that kit, you're supposed to give a sample. It can be a sample from yourself, or it can be a sample from, let's say you have this yogurt factory and you want to know what microbes are in your biodigester. Like you just take the kit, there's a collection, swab, like just a piece of cotton wool. You swab your biodigester, and then again, being very careful not to touch other things, you put it back. And these guys will try and figure out what microbes are there. Then you're asking, why is this important? It's important because when you're doing a lot of fermentation, there are these microbes like yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, that's the scientific name for baker's yeast. So there's a way you can optimize the way they work with genetics. So you just having that readout can give you an edge over the people who are within your industry. So this becomes very important. And yeah, so here we are back to this. So for this one, you can also get a sample of yourself. And for this one, I guess the importance is just knowing what's inside. Because when I talk to people, you just say like, oh, I'm Sam on my own. But unfortunately, you're not Sam on your own. You have a community of microorganisms which are doing interesting things on your body, and it's important to know them because they have influence throughout your body. Even people have gone to an extent to show some correlation between even who you interact with. Like you just met this person. Like, why do you choose to talk to that one and not that one? So things like these studies can help you kind of blur those lines or get you closer to what's that mechanism as an example. And another really serious one is there is a disease that, like, if you get it in your gut, like, there's no antibiotic that can really heal you. So you now have to move to the therapeutics that come from studies like this. So yeah, that's a bit about citizen science. I hope that was clear. Was that clear? Just a thumbs up would be good. Okay, nice. All right. So in the next part of the presentation, I'll show you how to generate data sets, especially on the realm of medicinal plants. And thankfully, according to the license from the Llama models, the Llama 405B, you are able to generate data sets, and that can be a starting point for you to now contribute to projects like the one for just annotating medicinal plants. And as you can see over here, there are medical conditions that if you have knowledge about these medicinal plants, that it can be really useful, like from wound care to general health to skin conditions, as an example. So fine-tuning is just like adapting your large language model to actually follow some certain instructions. And as I said before, here is the way the data set looks like. So you have, like here, I have a minor cut on my hand. What plant-based remedy can I use to promote wound healing? And this instruction and output pairs, I generated all this with the llama model. And then here it says, the sap of the aloe vera plant has been used for centuries to promote wound healing. And apply the sap directly to the skin and cover with a bandage. I don't trust this so much. Yeah, because another thing is that I wanted to share with you guys is, as much as the large language model is generating like cool text for me, like, is there a place I can verify where this information came from? Because like if you go and check out, or people at Jet General say, oh, this guy scraped the whole internet for this. But it would be nice to have somewhere to, where did they get this information from, so that you can go look at it and then verify. And I kind of agree with them. But it would be nice, like when you're making these data sets, to have like a reference to where the information is coming from. And I actually really forced the LLM to do this.
For me, I have a concern about that citizen science, about the information that you generate from the data that you collect from the citizens, local citizens. So how credible is it? Because some of the data that these people might be having might be superstitious, not true, though a wider community accepts that as true. For example, treatment of measles here, traditionally they are not supposed to take certain protein sources, yet medically proteins have no problem if a child is sick of measles. So you might get that data and then train your model that, and if someone uses it, and you know this is health, and maybe it gives them that answer that you're not supposed to take such and such proteins because you've trained it on citizen science. I don't know whether ethical and legally that will be correct. Yeah. So my point is about the credibility of that data. Or do you have to first go and take that data to proven scientists to screen through it, see, because people have done, is it pharmacognosy, science of these local herbs, and they know what works and what doesn't work.
It's the whole point is people complain to me a lot about lack of data, and at least this can work as a scaffolding, as an example. And I also wanted to emphasize on the references as well. So that's also important, just to, okay, responsible AI is very, very hard, and I'm coming from experience because I do the research. So these references will kind of tell you if things are going well or if things are going wrong, because you have the data set, you have the the text generator, which is the LLM, and yeah, you're able to see how those things are working together.
Hi, so we'll be taking you through this session. It's LLMs for tool calling, so it is another continuation of AI and machine learning. If you thought we're done, that's not over yet. We're just about to get started, and that's what we'll be going through for this. So prepare for a fun-packed session. But even as we begin, quick introduction of the speakers taking you through the session. My name is Sylvia Jabet. I work in Africa's Talking and Developer Relations and lead the Women in Tech in Africa. And I will be co-hosting with your previous co-host, but just because it is a new session, he will reintroduce himself just to bring the oomph to this one. Yeah, so over to you.
Yeah, so how's it going, guys? Like, my name is Mainya B. I'm the resident data scientist, and I do a lot of machine learning research. I'm part of a machine learning group called Fast.ai.
Awesome, awesome. So we will get started. It will be interactive here and there. So for the sessions where we have questions, please engage. It will be fun. It's a topic you've probably didn't know could happen that way, but you've been using it in a different way, sort of. But let's see how this goes. So first of all, we are going through LLMs for tool calling. So just to see where we are at in the room, what do you think that the session will be about? Just randomly, what's on your mind? Or what do you think we'll achieve at the end of this? Anyone? No wrong answers.
Training language models.
I see we are just reading the text and looking for content. But that is true, yes.
Okay, according to what I see at the photo, it's training. You're saying you are learning from the computer, you're learning from the world, and then learning from and then this person codes it to the voice with a human person, and then that person speaks out, maybe something like that.
Fantastic, fantastic. This is actually a very good answer. Learning from the world, training, there's someone speaking, you've literally gotten it from the photo. If we had swag and gifts, you'd also get a gift, but you'd be getting a bigger one, yes.
We are going to be looking at things that want to replace us.
Things that want to replace us. Basically, what we normally do with LLMs, most of us, at least on a daily, is just based off of text generation. That's usually it. Or, yeah, more or less that's what people have covered. So you give it some text, it scours the net, it's able to extract that information, brings back to you a result, right, in text form. And that's what we use it for on a daily. However, there's a lot more you can unlock with LLMs. And for this particular session, we'll be looking at tool calling. So this is basically enabling your LLMs to not only just give you text input, but actually carry out functions. You can pre-embed them with some functions where they need to take in parameters, and they can be able to run that for you and do it and make your life even more efficient, not lazy, right? Yes, so we'll be looking at how to do that. And just to expand your mind, because probably you're thinking, how does this happen? How do we make AI do all these things? Are we creating bots? What's going on? That's what we'll be delving into. But it's basically having predefined functions such that your LLMs do not just give you text input and tell you, well, my knowledge ends at October 2023. GPT people, hi. Yeah, it ends at October 2023 and that is it. But now you can actually feed it with your function so that it does exactly what you want it to do because you direct it. They are smart, in quotes. They might not replace us, but they are made smart by humans when you tell them what to do. So that's exactly what we'll be looking at, how to do that. So we'll get started with a cool video to show you an example of how this happens. QR code over there, you can pin that video, add it to your favorites, watch it every day before you sleep. You know, usual nerd things.
Hello, so this is a demo of my productivity app built using Claude and the Google Calendar API. I can just ask it to do stuff like, hey, can you schedule in a lunch break during every day of next week? Make sure with right, you can say that, and then it'll just go, and it will just insert it into your Google Calendar in a way that just works. So as you can see, it's getting all my events the next week. I'm currently showing the debug calls just so it's, easy to do. It planned an event, and as you can see, it shows up on my Google Calendar. And it's also in between my classes. So my classes go from 10:30, from like a 30 to a 20, and it's just taking that 1 minute. It's also following a 30 to a It's not 30 to 20, but like it's fitting it in that one little break I have instead of going with the standard like 12 to 1 or 11 to 12 hour because it saw when my classes were. It's currently running slow due to a Google Cloud API limit as I'm running Claude via the Google Cloud API in the Vertex AI Studio. And so as you can see, it's scheduling in all the lunch breaks into my calendar. And it's going to tell me your lunch breaks have been scheduled or something along those lines. Give it a second to generate. Yep, I have scheduled a 1 hour lunch break, etc. Yeah, so I want to say, can you schedule a 1 hour block sometime next week to work out? Make sure it doesn't interfere with anything. Right, I'm going to say that, and then what it's going to do is it's going to find some hour in the next week, and it's just going to fit it in there. So it's double checking this calendar again. Right, it's trying to find that 1 hour time slot. And so I think it's going to schedule it in that Thursday morning, but it might just schedule it on like a Tuesday afternoon or something. Oh, it's giving me options. I don't know, I'll say Thursday morning. I want to say Thursday morning was good, and then it's just going to put it in my Google Calendar. And then once it's in my Google Calendar, it's accessible by everything else. And, 7:30 a.m. That is on the earlier side. I'm just going to ask it, can you like move it later by like 2 hours? And it will do that. It will like delete the old event and then like move the new one forward by like 2 hours. But, hold on. Oh, it's coming up with a response back to me. And Google Cloud is slowing me down. I want to say, hey, can you delay it by 1 to 2 hours? So it's like not literally the earliest thing. I should have probably looked at it before, but you know. Oh, it tried to delete an event that it thought existed but doesn't. So it's going to double check the event ID. So this is just some stuff it tries to do and fails. If the generation were fast enough, it could be like near instant, but you know. It might just schedule in the new event without deleting the old one, which would be kind of annoying, but... Oh, plan a new one. It's going to claim to try rescheduling it. I'm going to tell it to double check the ID. I'm going to tell it to double check the ID of the old workout time. There's still a little bit of bugs, but, you know, it's just going to schedule it. Yeah, it's getting all the calendar events. And I'm just going to delete it. And so as you can see, oh, it's gone. It's gone from my calendar, and my calendar has been filled with all the stuff. And so this is a demo of what I've been working on. Yeah.
All right. So that is basically an example. This is a tool that he just calls on. It calls on the API, gives all the relevant parameters, the event ID, the email, and you can see it automates most of these things. As opposed to, hey, ChatGPT, my schedule looks like this. When is the free time? And then it responds with a text. Your better than that. You're at the AT Summit. You don't do that here. Yeah. So that's what we'll delve into. An example of tool calling, but any other API can work. So you can create any function for it to automate any of this. All right? Yes, it's not magic. It's science, computer science.
Yeah. I hope that sort of excited you a bit. So let's now look at the diagram of how exactly what happens behind the curtain. So firstly, you give your LLM your input that is in form of a prompt, and bear in mind it can be audio as well. It can be audio and an image. It can be a video soon. So the user input can come in different shapes and sizes, but the processes mostly will be the same. So when you give it the prompt, the LLM is going to process it. And on one hand, if it's a response that's not, and in case you can't see this clearly, you can just scan this. But if, again, you can just listen along, and I might say something super important that you need to actually pay attention to. So I encourage you to pay attention. And towards the end, I'll put a slide with all the information. Okay. So usually when you've given tools to your LLM, if you just say hi, it'll respond with hi, and that corresponds to what you're seeing over there, where it just gives you a direct answer with a standard response. But if a function is needed just based on the tooling you've put in your LLM, so the tooling is basically, you give it like a bunch of JSON, right? So you just give it JSON, very structured JSON, and then there's something, I'll talk about how that came about. So if you just give it the JSON schema of your actual function, it'll find a way to now first of all, it'll acknowledge that, hey, I have new functionality. So if you ask, what can you do? It's going to notice, hey, I have this JSON thing like within like my tooling, and then it's going to notice, again in quotes, that a function is needed, or your model is going to like acknowledge that it needs a function, and then it's going to execute that function, and then you get final output. But some of them are so tightly integrated, like these closed-sourced ones, where you won't have this diagram the way it is. Some of it will be just final response. Like nowadays, like with the new ChatGPT, at least from the 4.0 series, I don't know if you guys have tried to ask, please verify your information from the internet. It's gonna do a tool call, search for information on the internet, and then give you references. So please, like, if it's information, like sensitive information, it's good to have a reference point. So I'd really encourage you to add the tool for searching the internet. And DuckDuckGo is free, so they have an API. You can just use it and use it as a tool as well to augment your large language model with internet search. When you're making these models, it's very important to curate your data set really well. And because of that curation, these models are able to distill the pattern that you want to do with this text. Like for instance, if you want to do now that summarization, within your data set, have a couple of examples for summarization, have a couple of examples for something I didn't talk about, like name entity recognition. That's usually very interesting when it comes to maybe medical documents. You scan a medical document and then you just look for terms that the doctor has mentioned, like this person was sick of this in this location. So you just make a system to put all that in a database so that people can build tools on it. So this diagram just summarizes, like, I know it's a bit blurry, but it summarizes like how the tool calling actually works. And now I can give you another summary. Is basically like within the LLM, it has learned all these tricks in natural language processing, all those 5 or 6 things that you can do in natural language processing is within the data set. And like I said, these models are very good at pattern matching and like they're able to ascertain like your intent just based on the patterns that they have seen before. And that's it for this diagram. I don't want to overcomplicate it. And another thing, that there was a paper from Google called React, that means reasoning and action. So within that paper, they did several prompts to their models, which is from Palm to Gemini, where they just said like, hey, it was a very, very long prompt, but these same prompts are used for now these agents that, like the one I talked to that gentleman about, where these models are able to do things autonomously. You don't have to be there like looking for now the prices of this particular thing. They can just go on their own and run it. And obviously, if you're a coder, you just know there's like a for loop somewhere there doing all the work. But they also know how a for loop works. So just you with your prompts there, they're able to run this thing over and over again. So in the research from Google, they realized that you can prompt these things in a way and tell it like, hey, like, tell me the weather of this place. And then the LLM hasn't come across that pattern before. Then like it's going to respond, hey, I need a certain tool or something to help it do this, right? And then if you integrate things like LangChain, that it's just a library to help you deal with large language models, you can be able to now add that function, and then it's able now to get the weather. And I don't know if you'll have time to also do that, but anyway, so the whole point is like the whole reasoning and action, it was a paper that could tell us like, hey, these things are capable of doing more. And in fact, they were able to do more. So if we're able to prompt and add this information in terms of a JSON schema, they were able to run the function. And here I just talked about instruction tuning. That's just basically like having the LLM hone in on the particular function or the particular task, which is now function calling. So with that React paper, you're able to do that without changing a lot of things in the inherent model. And that was mostly it. And you can just look at OpenAI's research that they did in 2023, and there's a link there. Like if your phone has, there's some recognition, it will be able to take you to one of those papers. And
this is Gradio. You can use it via API built with Gradio. One of the elements on Hugging Face. Yeah, a lot of words to research, look at for later use. Yeah, I'm just, yeah. But now this is an example of a tool calling implemented with a Gradio interface, right? So what we'll do is, the code is hidden, but what will happen, there are functions to send airtime or send a message. Because we're at Africa's Talking Summit, so we're using Africa's Talking products. So we have two functions in the background. Send airtime and send a message. So we want to call a tool that passes the parameters to that particular function. It's able to run it and then bring back a result. That is, send the airtime or send the message. Because we're not doing text results. We're better than that. Yeah, we're automating things, right? All right, so let's test it out. This is where I'm doing my input. Type a message so you can follow from here. So let's start with, Kenya shillings. Someone with a Kenyan number can receive it. Yes. He raised his hand first. You're very chap with this.
90175477.
10 shillings. So this is just an example of sending a statement, prompting our LLM, just like that. Let's see if it goes. There we go. There's a dot. But it basically, you can see this is usually the response you get when you call the Africa's Talking Airtime API. So with one sentence, it has been able to extract the number, the amount, and the currency, which are usually the essential parameters for this particular API to work. Right? Confirmed? I hope cameraman is seeing the thumbs up so that it's not rumors when this video is recorded. But you can confirm. You want to read for us? Okay, yes, he has said yes.
There's a receipt number, but you said confirmed you have received Kenya shillings 10. That's in terms of airtime.
10 shillings. Fantastic. But that is basically the tool that has called that particular API. This one can send to a Ugandan number. So, yes, the number, we send you a message.
775 91 90 85.
You should have the word? Non-believer. Okay, hello there, non-believer. All right. All right, there we go. Same response get from the AT message bulk SMS API. Received? You want to read for us your message? Cameramani, this is...
Hello from AT Summit, non-believer.
All right, there we go. So that is how it basically works. You can give it a statement and it can be able to extract what you need for this particular API. If this was a game, this would have been level 1. If level 1 is well understood, you proceed to level. Exactly. So now we're going to level 2. Instead of doing it in text, because we are in AT Summit 2024, we don't do things basic. No, that's very 2023, right? Yeah, so let's try now using voice. Because if something can be read, let's see, talking to it. So you can imagine the levels you can achieve with this. Hi, Tesla bot. But you can see the levels you can achieve with this. You can be able to use your voice to call on a tool that does a particular functionality for you. So if you see someone in the office, they're not doing a lot of typing, they're just saying, please schedule for me a lunch break on 29th October and call it this way, title it this way. They sit for a while and then they say something else. They are probably very skilled in LLMs and all this machine learning and data science content. Stay close to them.
So the thing is, it's a file, like it's a .py file, right? You write all your functionality, right? And then maybe you have environment variables, right? So it'll just pick them and just continue. Because remember, it knows how to run the function. Yeah.
Can it be dynamic in a way that it asks you when you say send airtime, it says, can you please provide your
Yes. Yes.
Can you provide your username?
Yes, it is. Like, there's also something, I don't know if you guys noticed, I actually specified my username. Yeah. And that's like a security measure as well. Yeah.
Can, like the way you were doing that, can you like hide? Can you when in like the way you enter passwords in the text, like when you specify and the field is like username, and then you start typing, can that be hidden?
So there's a function I wrote within the code that actually does that. It's just that I was racing to finish writing the demo, so I think that's something you can easily implement. Yeah, and besides, you'll get the code.
I'm here to help with a variety of tasks. I can send messages, look up weather information, save and recall information for you, and even send airtime to phone numbers. Let me know what you need, and I'll do my best to assist.
Please send airtime to Sylvia. The amount is 3 and the currency is Kenya shillings KES.
I've sent KES3 airtime to Sylvia's number. If there's anything else you'd like to do.
So every model or every vendor you're going to use for that actually makes LLMs, they have a way they structure their JSON, right? To actually handle or to define what this actual function does. And this is required for most LLMs. So just look for the documentation or read the research paper, and you'll get something like this. Or if you make your own, you'll actually have to do that as well. Again, you're trying to refine you're trying to refine so that the model is able to achieve your request. So another thing is within your functions, make sure they are dead. They map to what exactly the function does. Like if it's like somewhere in the source code, you'll see send message and send airtime. There have to be something that defines your function really well, or your LLM will struggle. And if you wanted to make your own function calling data set, or use function calling in an LLM you're working on, this link down here will take you to something to help you do that. And the first one is an example from OpenAI of how they do function calling with their models. So right now, we've learned that LLMs, we can extend them and make them better. And yeah, there are so many use cases you can have when you're doing this kind of work. And as someone said, it's going to be money making. Hopefully, I wish you all the best in actually doing that, because LLM products are really hard to sell. And again, you can manage tasks autonomously, from customer service to healthcare, with tools like this, depending on how you build the UI. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to see what you guys will build. So here are all the links that were used, and down there there's a Hugging Face chat. Hugging Face team also creates tools, and if you wanted functionality like ChatGPT with also the tools, even image generation with state-of-the-art models like Flux Dev, you can use the huggingface.co.chat, and you're given more capabilities by making a Hugging Face account. So like I'll say it one last time. Please make an account in Hugging Face and use it.
Fun fact, the Hugging Face chat is called Hugging Chat. It's funny. The way they wanted, the video.
It's there. Yeah, I've also included a book that was just published maybe a couple of months ago. So yeah, make sure you get it and become dangerous in large language models. Thanks. Thank you all for coming.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. That has been it from Breakout 1 for the AT Summit 2024. It's a wrap, guys. So thanks for being an amazing audience. I hope you gained and learned. Awesome. So let's all head downstairs. Thank you for watching.